Well, Indie Unsigned week continues. There's a few more days of it. Not much, but a few more. I got a few more reviews here to post. A couple text reviews. And this video review on Remaining Chaos, A New Silence. Digital EP from the melodic death metal band. They're from Portugal, Portugal. Relatively new band. They had a debut. This is their debut recording. It's a 7-song EP. Digital only, that you can only get through their Bandcamp. And I don't know, the best way to explain this one, I guess, right off the bat, it's sort of like a three-way between, who is it between Dimmu Borgir, Insomnium, and Dark Tranquillity. So if you enjoy that kind of symphonic element and atmosphere, you'll probably like this this EP. It's very gritty. It's got a slightly muffled production. The guitars have a very deep distortion to them. The bass is potted up, potted enough to blend in with the riffs. Helps to make headbanging a lot easier. Helps to keep the rhythm and the groove of certain songs strong and addicting. The cymbals are clean, but they're a bit buried in the louder instruments. Snares have like a wooden tightness and a mid-range to them. And the kicks, very, very commanding. They're pretty loud in the mix. But the symphonics dominate the entire thing. They're very crisp compared to any other instrument. And the vocals, they vary from a low, harsh growl to more of a raspy scream. And there are, like I said, 7 tracks to this EP. The first one is a short introduction track, Reality Redefined. Has a slow fade in, and seems like a breakdown at first. It builds with a richer performance as it goes along. The drums and symphonics are really on display with this one. Really tight performance. There's some rough growling vocals. There's a hopeful atmosphere on this one, and it's a very impressive start to the EP. But out of nowhere, the next song, A New Silence, kicks in, and it's like this track just stops, and then A New Silence just kicks in a few seconds into the song, and the entire atmosphere just completely shifts. It feels like there's actually part of the song missing that makes the transition between the intro and A New Silence flow smoothly. Unfortunately, it's not there. But if you can bypass that, it's got a very dismal atmosphere. It's very slow-paced. The verses are a bit thinner and less symphonic, but the chorus really just enriches everything. The cymbals really fill where the keyboard doesn't manage to fill things up, like the keyboards meaning the symphonics. Not so much, like I said, in the main verses, unfortunately. It's still a really catchy track. This was one of my personal favorites off the entire EP. Well, yeah, I'll say it's a personal favorite. Even though it really isn't one of the best, it's definitely not their strongest offering, mostly because it does seem to go on a bit too long. Listening to it, I'd be content at the 4-minute mark. There's no need to really go further than that, because at that point, they just rehash the chorus again for an extended amount of time, which extends the passages that were used prior. I don't know, it's like an extra 1:19 that just feels like it doesn't have to be there. The other song that really caught my interest was Image. It's one of the stronger offerings, a lot richer, and this was definitely one that I really got into a lot more than that song. It's a mid-pace, but it's just a very aggressive track. The growls show a lot of enthusiasm. It's slower material towards the end, and again, it seems to bring in the hopeful atmosphere, whereas everything else was kind of dismal earlier. But it's a very infectious track. It's basically like a headbanging mandate. There is no reason you're not going to headbang along to this song. It is that infectious and just aggressive, I guess you would say. Very heavy, very commanding. This is definitely one of the best songs, if not the best song off the EP. Some of you might argue. You might enjoy it more, you might enjoy it less. I don't know. Next is Requiem. Easily the most impressive. It's got another mid-tempo. The drums actually make it seem faster than it really is, mostly because the bass kicks are going really fast and the cymbals fill everything quite well. The verses have some epic symphonies to them. That and held guitar chords It's a simpler performance in comparison to the other songs, but it just really sounds moving, almost emotional in a way. There are tighter chords throughout the entire track, and the enthusiasm level on this is the highest you'll find. I love this track too. I can't say I like this more than I liked Image. Sorry, I had to think about that one for a second. I couldn't think of the name. Again, this EP has a good deal of variety, and chances are good what I say is easily one of my favorites, you might not agree with and might find something else to be one of your favorites. Other thing about Requiem, this one actually, in my opinion, seems like the closest to a Dimmu Borgir offering because of the symphonies. And that, I don't know, the symphonics just really make it a more epic and powerful track. It's one definitely worth checking out. Fires is the fastest track off the entire EP. Not as symphonic, it really relies on the guitar, on the chords from the guitar to really push it along. The aggression feels natural for this song, a little raw as well. Various slower passages do appear in the song. It brings back the aggression in a more primal state. Also introduces some hostility that wasn't there in the first place. Either way, it's another headbanging mandate, basically. It's just really catchy, another infectious song. It offers plenty of chances to just, bang your head along. There are some areas that unfortunately aren't quite as strong in this song, but the simpler chorus does create a very memorable experience that you are going to enjoy. Overall, I gotta give this thing a 9 out of 10. This was a fantastic EP. Like I said, it's basically, if you could picture Dimmu Borgir, Insomnium, and Dark Tranquillity in a three-way, if you want to picture that, but trust me, you do, because this is that fantastic an EP. It's not too unique, but damn is it good. The only song that really hinders... there's only one song that really hinders the track. The track. That only really hinders the EP, and it's kind of the title track. I liked it. Others might not. I didn't really see it being all that strong, but I found some positive elements to it that made it more enjoyable than it really should have been. But that one's definitely something a little on the iffy side for some people. But really the only reason somebody might not like it is because, similar to me, you might be content at the 4-minute mark and just bypass the rest of it, because really all the rest of it is just a rehash of the chorus again. But the EP is very rich, very atmospheric. It benefits greatly from the muffled production. They didn't go the high-value production way like bands like Deadlock have gone. Dark Tranquillity has gone. They carry a muffled sound to the instruments outside of the keyboards for the symphonics, and it really makes it a lot more aggressive than what you might find today from this melodic death genre that utilizes keyboards. I don't know, there's a great deal of enthusiasm in the vocals in every song. Not every track has that enthusiasm in the music, which is a little sad, honestly. It's depressing to hear it, but at the same time, most of the songs are slow and mid-paced, so it does kind of work out. They don't focus solely on the symphonic elements, which is something I really liked. That, and they help push many of the songs along with the drums, and that is fantastic. The drums, not so much the guitars, only here and there, but the drums are so rich that it does really move the song along quite well. And I just really got into that more than if it was just like a keyboard-driven offering, kind of like what Dark Tranquillity would do, even though Dark Tranquillity is easily one of my favorite bands. I don't know, it just gets better the deeper that you go into this EP, and I'm not sure if that's a suggestion of how the songs were written and composed and performed and all that, but if it acts sort of like a timeline, then their next release is going to be phenomenal. Because by the time this ends, you are going to love it more than when you first started. I don't know. I just don't see this band being unsigned for much longer. I can see Napalm, maybe even Century Media. I think they're still dealing with Dark Tranquillity, but I can even see Century Media picking them up. Despite Century Media kind of signing those alternative and hard rock bands nowadays. But, there's definitely no reason. I've been talking about starting my own record label for a while, and this band actually fueled that passion to actually try and create my own label, just because of how good this EP was. So, Remaining Chaos, A New Silence, go check out their Bandcamp page, grab it, it's a fantastic EP, you will definitely not be let down by it if you love melodic death metal, sort of Gothenburg melodic death metal, something we don't really hear that much of anymore, and if you enjoy symphonies in your music, not symphonics, but atmosphere, enriching, epic keyboards that creates a symphonic... I want to say melee, but that's not the word I'm searching for. Not opus, but just an epic atmosphere with, yes, some symphonic elements. There's no symphony, it's all keyboards, but you know what? Who cares? It's pretty damn good, and it's something that is well worth picking up.